You know, I've been thinking a lot about how life can turn on a dime, how one decision from someone else can upend everything you've built. I guess that's why I'm sharing this now. It's been a few years, and I've come out the other side, but man, it still stings sometimes when I look back. Let me tell you what happened, from the beginning, because it's one of those stories that sounds made up, but it's all true. I promise I'll keep it real, no exaggerating. I was just your average accountant, the kind who shows up early, leaves late, and doesn't make a fuss. My name's Alex. Well, that's not my real name, but it'll do for this. I worked for this mid-sized manufacturing company in the Midwest, the kind that makes parts for cars and trucks. It wasn't glamorous, it was spreadsheets and ledgers, coffee that's always a little too bitter, and fluorescent lights that buzz like they're judging you. But I loved the work. Numbers don't lie, you know? They tell the truth if you listen close enough. I started there right out of college, fresh-faced and eager, with my CPA certification still warm from the printer. Over the years, 15 of them, to be exact, I climbed a little, but not much. I was the guy behind the scenes, the one who caught the stuff no one else saw. Early on, I noticed discrepancies in our inventory reports. Turns out, one of our suppliers was shorting us on materials, but billing full price. I dug in, cross-referenced invoices with delivery logs, and boom! We were out hundreds of thousands over a couple years. I fixed it quietly, renegotiated the contract, and saved the company a bundle. Management patted me on the back, said, "Good job," and that was that. But it didn't stop there. A few years later, during tax season, I spotted errors in our deductions, stuff that could have triggered an IRS audit. We're talking penalties that would have wiped out our profits for the quarter. I reworked the filings, documented everything, and we sailed through without a hitch. Again, no big fanfare. Just me, grinding away, making sure the ship didn't sink. And over time, it added up. I prevented fraud from internal folks skimming petty cash, optimized our expense tracking to cut waste, even caught a glitch in our payroll system that was overpaying bonuses to execs, ironically, the same ones who later. Well, I'll get to that. Point is, I wasn't just punching numbers, I was the unsung hero. Conservatively, I'd say I saved or brought in millions for that company. Not through flashy deals or sales, but by being vigilant, by caring enough to double-check when others wouldn't. My coworkers knew it. They joked that I was the guardian angel of the books. But the higher-ups? They saw me as reliable, sure, but nothing special. I kept my head down, didn't rock the boat. Family to support, bills to pay, you get it. Then came the day I decided to ask for what I deserved. It was after a particularly brutal year where I'd pulled all-nighters to unravel a mess from a botched merger. The company came out stronger, profits up 20% thanks in part to my fixes. I figured, hey, I've earned this. So I scheduled a meeting with my boss, the CFO, and the CEO. I prepared a presentation, not showy, just facts. Laid out the savings I'd generated, the risks I'd averted. I asked for a raise, maybe 15%, and some recognition, like a title bump to senior accountant or something. Nothing outrageous. They listened politely at first. Then the CEO leaned back, chuckled, and said, "Alex, you're good at what you do, but let's be real. Accountants are a dime a dozen. We could replace you tomorrow." The CFO nodded, smirking like it was a joke. "Appreciate the effort, but times are tight, maybe next year." I pushed a little, politely, mind you, reminding them of specific instances. But they waved it off. "That's your job," they said. "We pay you to do that." I left that meeting feeling like I'd been punched in the gut. Undervalued? That's an understatement. It was like I'd been invisible all along. Things got worse from there. They started nitpicking my work, assigning me grunt tasks, like they were testing me or something. I think they saw my request as disloyalty. A few months later, they called me in and fired me. Restructuring, they called it. Handed me a severance check that barely covered 2 months' rent and told me to clear out my desk. I was stunned. 15 years, and poof, gone. They said I was replaceable, that the company would be fine without me. As I walked out, carrying my box of staplers and family photos, I heard laughter from the conference room. It broke something in me. The next few months were hell. I was in my mid-40s, job market tough, especially in accounting where everyone's looking for young blood who'll work for peanuts. I sent out resumes, went to interviews, but nothing stuck. Bills piled up, mortgage, car payments, kids' school stuff. My wife was supportive, picking up extra shifts at her nursing job, but we argued more than ever. I'd lie awake at night, questioning everything. Was I really that forgettable? Had all those years meant nothing? The frustration boiled inside me. The anger at being mocked, at being discarded like yesterday's trash. I felt worthless, like maybe they were right. Depression crept in. I stopped shaving, barely left the house. There were days I wondered if I'd ever climb out of that hole. But here's where it turns. One night, staring at the ceiling, I had this epiphany. If they thought I was replaceable, fine. I'd prove them wrong by building something better. I'd always dreamed of my own firm, but fear held me back, stability, you know? Now, with nothing to lose, I dove in. I cashed out my 401k, risky, I know, and set up shop in my garage. Called it Integrity Accounting Services. Corny, maybe, but it fit. My focus, honesty and transparency. No cutting corners, no fuzzy math. I treat clients like people, not numbers. Starting over was brutal. First clients were small, local mom and pop shops, a bakery down the street, a mechanic. I'd meet them in coffee shops, explain things in plain English, not jargon. I charged fair rates, but I delivered. Fixed their books, saved them on taxes, helped with budgets. Word spread slowly. One client referred another. I built a website myself, learned QuickBooks inside out, networked at Chamber of Commerce meetings. It was exhausting, nights poring over files, days hustling for business. The pain of rejection from job hunts fueled me, turned into quiet determination. I wasn't going to let those bosses define me. About a year in, things started clicking. A mid-sized retailer heard about me from a friend. They were unhappy with their current accountants, my old firm, actually. Turns out, after I left, mistakes crept back in. Overstated assets, underreported liabilities, stuff I'd have caught in a heartbeat. They switched to me. I dove in, cleaned it up, and they stuck around. Then another, a construction company, same story. My reputation grew. The accountant who actually cares, who explains why things matter. I hired my first employee, a sharp kid fresh from school, reminded me of myself. We expanded the garage office to a small storefront. Clients appreciated the transparency. I'd send detailed reports, flag issues early, even advise on growth strategies. No surprises, no hidden fees. It felt good, you know? Like I was rebuilding not just a business, but my sense of worth. Fast forward a couple years, and we'd hit our stride. Bigger clients came knocking, manufacturers, distributors, even some tech startups moving into the area. I didn't poach actively, I didn't have to. They came because they'd heard the stories. And yeah, some were from my old company. The largest one? An auto parts supplier that was their golden goose, accounting for 40% of their revenue. They'd been with the firm for decades, but after a sloppy audit that nearly cost them a government contract, they bailed. I met with their CFO, laid out my approach, and sealed the deal over lunch. Taking those clients felt satisfying. Not vengeful, exactly, I'm not that guy, but like justice. My old bosses? They felt it. I heard through the grapevine that the company was struggling. Layoffs, scrambling to replace lost business. The CEO who mocked me. He stepped down amid financial irregularities. The CFO got demoted. They underestimated me, thought I was just a cog. But I was the one holding it all together. Now, sitting here in my office, proper one, with windows and a team of 10, I feel this calm victory. No shouting from rooftops, just quiet satisfaction. Life's poetic sometimes, the person they fired ended up outshining them. If you're out there feeling undervalued, hang in there. Start small, stay true, and watch what happens. It's not always easy, but damn, it's worth it.